Hello and welcome to FPL FaF, the Form and Fixtures podcast. Today I'm just joined by Jason. Hi Jason, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, really good, thanks. And
Good.
yeah, unfortunately no James today as he is welcoming a little Afia to the world. So that's my niece. Welcome Afia. And yeah, James and Beth are doing great as well. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll definitely be watching, but maybe he'll he'll join next week. Who knows? I can imagine he's got a busy couple of weeks ahead of him.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, so yeah, okay. So FPL this week, I have to be honest with you, my week has been absolutely atrocious, and when I have these weeks, I don't even bother looking at
Oh, really? I
at
haven't
the
even
league
checked your
table.
thing.
So yeah, how did you get on?
So, I was all right. There was two things that annoyed me. So I'll just quickly do a little roundup. So I finished on 61 points, not too shabby. So Trippier, Cancelo, Zaha, Bowen, Haaland, and Tony were all the players that returned. But I did have Martinelli and Cucurella on the bench
Ooh.
um, as my second and third sub. So I didn't get anything with from those, which was really annoying because I bought Harrison in the other week, but that was a big mistake. But yeah, so 61 points is not too bad, but I was just annoyed with my bench really because I should have had those players on.
Oh mate, yeah. How come you went for Martinelli on the bench?
All it was, I bought Zaha in last week for this game because I thought he would do something. I should have put him in for Harrison, but I just felt I'm not sure Palace have kept a clean sheet this season. I just thought we'd concede. We obviously did concede, but Harrison's been, quite a big outlet for them. So, and Martinelli, uh, he's just been class. To be fair, I just didn't really. I don't know. It's just a mistake on my part, really. To be fair, it was against Liverpool, though. I know they've been poor, but I don't know. It's one of those things. Liverpool
Yeah,
are pretty fair, so could bet on anyone doing something against them. So it's just poor judgment from me, to be fair. But he's back in for next week, 100%. So
yeah,
I've learned
man.
from my mistake.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, I've made bigger mistakes than that this week. So,
Mm.
yeah, the three players that absolutely destroyed me this weekend were Martinelli, Foden, and Cancelo, and it just feels so frustrating that I haven't even got any of them. And I know, and it's all logical. It's all like I've got reasons why I did it all, but then you get a game like because the game week before I was absolutely laughing with like 100 points, happy as anything. Sold Martinelli for Madison, and and I kept in my team Kulusevski and Diaz. And looking back at that, like just such a mistake. Should have got rid of Kulusevski because I just was worried. I just felt like I think it was the Arsenal game. I felt like he could do something against Arsenal, um, or or whoever I can't remember now. But yeah, anyway, and then Foden, uh, I I knew like at the before in making my transfers last week, I really felt like Foden was really vital against Southampton, and we talked about me and James talked about him a lot last week, but there was just no way I couldn't justify bringing in Foden to then create another problem for myself for
Mm.
game week 12, and I just regret it so much because I think I would have rather had yeah I just think that I should have gone for him this week, and instead I went for Trossard and Zaha. And yeah, Trossard, I watched the Cold Brighton game. Trossard, like, he had a few nice little touches, but generally speaking, it didn't look like they were ever going to do anything. And
Okay.
I was going to talk about Welbeck later, but yeah, and then Cancelo, I took him out absolutely ages ago with the view to that he'd only be out of my team for 2 weeks. And then you know what happens, like the 2 weeks arrive and then something else happens and you get in someone else. And I keep putting it off. I've got Diaz in my team, Ruben Diaz in my team instead. So I put it off. And then yeah, boom, this weekend, Cancelo really hit me hard, and yeah, it's something that just needs to change ASAP because I can't risk that anymore. Like yeah,
mate.
so yeah,
Yeah.
what were we gonna say?
Just City are looking quality, aren't they? So
They are.
it's like you need to have Haaland and Cancelo are like I think the first names on the team sheet really. I know City is still conceding, but he's still Cancelo when he has those days like he did at the weekend. He's always likely to do something.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. So, and another thing as well that just absolutely killed me. Like, not only those three players, I've got Sterling. Like, I'm like one of the only people
Oh
that's
mate,
actually backed Sterling, and I've had him in my team for ages now, and he just hasn't since those 2 weeks. He just hasn't done anything. And then on top of that, he starts on the bench, doesn't even make an appearance, and then Reece James comes off the
started
bench.
on the
And
bench as well.
yeah, and if Reece James didn't come on, then I would have got Thingy's goal, the Fulham and Andrea
And
Pereira.
yeah,
Yeah, so just really frustrating. Like, but again, it wouldn't really made up. I guess the most frustrating thing above everything is that I had a massive jump last week with a huge haul, and then I've just gone straight back to where I was with an awful game week. My game week rank was like 9 million. So yeah, it was
9 million,
yeah game
really?
week rank. Yeah, so
Wow.
like it was, yeah. I mean, one of the worst game weeks I've ever had. Um, and then on top of that, yeah, yeah, it's just been an awful season. Like it was like that season um when I didn't bother getting in Bruno Fernandes, and I ended up like winning our mini league that season.
Yeah.
So like I'm not dead of hope at all, but yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a much tougher. Like, yeah, I've made the start really difficult. But anyway, moving on with the agenda. So we're going to go through, yeah, two standout players from each position, and then also two, like I guess, players to avoid, maybe players that have had bad game weeks from each position as well. Then move on to the teams to target with the fixtures, and yeah, finally our golden picks with our transfers and captain pick as well. So, yeah, do you want to get us started? Who's your two defenders or goalkeeper that stood out?
Right. So I actually struggled with this one. I've got one defender, but I couldn't really think of a keeper when I was looking. I really couldn't. So hopefully you can fill in another one. But I put Trippier in, you know, um, again with another assist. And 1 second. Last 4 games Trippier's had, he's got 7, 7, 5, and 8 points. So he's been very consistent over the last few weeks. Definitely a player on form. Takes corners, free kicks, crosses, and they're likely to keep a clean sheet. I think they've only conceded 9 this season. So Newcastle, sorry, are looking pretty solid defensively. So I put him in there. And I was just struggling with another one. Even the kind of better defenders are conceding and stuff. You could maybe say Cancelo is always likely for it to get a good return. I just didn't want to put him in again. I was trying to find some more, but I struggled with defenders and goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Hopefully, can you think of anyone else?
Well, I said Trippier for exactly the same reason last week as well. Like he's just doing brilliantly, man. But
Hmm.
for me, like I will say, so it's not necessarily for outstanding performance, but just someone to keep an eye on is Kepa. He's only 4.4 million and he's now starting.
Yeah,
Obviously it's yet to see, but it's just someone to keep an eye on. But in terms of like my standout two players, it's kind of, I guess, a kind of just one because I said it on the podcast, and two uh, because I said it in our group chat. But Doherty and Ashley Young. Doherty like didn't exactly have. He wasn't bad, but I mean he didn't set the game on fire. He did have a few chances in the box though. and he did look a bit live. Well, I say a bit lively down the right hand side, and we know Emerson Royale's banned, so it did make me think, yeah, like I wouldn't. I want to see how he gets on this next game, but I definitely think Doherty's got, like, we know what Doherty can do in FPL, so I'm just really hopeful. And then secondly, Ashley Young, like, yeah, I don't think. Oh no, you weren't on it, but I said
Oh, well,
I called Ashley
yeah.
Young that because the Villa fullbacks were out and they've got good fixtures coming up. And yeah, like he's just done brilliant. I think he's got 5, 8, and now 11 points. And like,
Oh, really? Oh, fair
yeah, I
play.
mean, I didn't take my own advice, but it would have been such a good shout.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think it's time to get on him now. Like, I think he's had his points now. But yeah, it was a great little haul and a great little call, really. But yeah, and obviously Cancelo. Yeah, I mean, top scoring defender. He's amazing, man. Yeah, what about your midfield?
So with midfield, this was a hard one because there's actually quite a few. I've put three, if I can say three, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
far more. So I've just gone with Saka, Bowen, and Anthony. So Anthony's scored 3 goals in 3 games, I believe. So he's got a great left foot. He's likely to score, and United's attack looks half decent at the moment. Bowen last 2 weeks with the returns, 2 goals, I think. So West Ham are coming into a bit of form as well as Bowen. And then the other one I put was Saka. Saka over the last 4 weeks. Again, 1 second. I had him just here. 1 sec. Mm.
I think I got the stats on the
So
top of
yeah,
my
I had
head.
it here. So Saka, so 15 points over the weekend, 2 previous week, 9, 7, 5, and 5 before that. So he's definitely a player that's being consistent at the moment. It's definitely someone to keep look at. 7.8 mil. Can't really moan at that, I don't think, especially when
Yeah.
Arsenal in general were playing really well as well. I thought Arsenal would look to kind of drop form a bit, but they're still pushing City for number one at the moment. Interesting to see how much longer they can keep that form up. But Saka, 100% player to keep your eye on. Martinelli was there as well. As I said, Bowen, West Ham, and Anthony scored 3 in every. I think he scored in every game he's played in the Prem so far. So they're my few.
Yeah, so would you pick Anthony over Rashford, even though Rashford's about 1 million cheaper?
I would personally. I've actually
Really?
got Anthony next week. Yeah,
Oh, really? That's your transfer?
yeah, yeah. I
Fair
actually
play.
made 2. I'll say the other one later on, but yeah, I think he just likely he's just got such a good left foot. He doesn't even have to be in the game. He can just have the ball 20, 25 yards out, cut in and shoot, and it will go in. Rashford picked up a bit of form and stuff again, which is good to see, but he's just very, very inconsistent. One week he can be class, the other week he can be absolutely crap. So that, to me personally, I'd go with Anthony at the moment just for consistency.
Mate, fair play. Yeah, in my head, I'd still go Rashford over him just to save the money. And
Yeah,
over the course of the season, all good fixtures, I don't think Anthony would outscore Rashford. And if he did, it wouldn't be by a lot anyway. But yeah, fair play, man. Yeah, interesting to see how that comes off there. Yeah, for me, similar to you, to be honest, I've just gone Saka. He's had 8 goal involvements already this season, and it wasn't long ago. Well, we were 4 games in; he'd only had 1 assist, and yeah, we're talking about that he hasn't carried it on, but since then he's just blown up. And he's just he's just so, as an Arsenal fan watching him, he's just so good, man. Like
yeah.
Martinelli always has the headlines, but for me, like Saka's just amazing. Like he never loses the ball. He can pick up the ball anywhere on the pitch and he will never lose it for you. He's so intelligent. He passes the ball at the perfect time. Like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't always relate to FPL points, but he is just an incredible player, similar to Jesus as well, where they're just incredible players and they won't always get points, but they are just so good for the team.
The front three is just great. All three of them at the moment, they're just
Oh,
class.
mate. They really
Fair
are,
play.
and Odegaard
Yeah.
behind them as well. Again, like I was going to talk about him later, but just yeah, Odegaard is just incredible for all of them three. Like so, yeah, it's really exciting times, especially as an Arsenal fan. I'm not getting too carried away, but it is pretty unbelievable considering. Yeah, we're like talking about eighth. I swear, like last season, after 3 games, people were talking, jokes were being made about us getting relegated, and now, yeah, it's just really fun, you know. That's that's how I describe it right now. And then the other one's Foden. Yeah, he's had 10 goal involvements so far, and he's just in the box. Like I think he's just going to get more and more. Like I don't think this is a stint of goals. I think this is going to be more of a permanent feature that he's just going to get more and more goals as he goes on. He's going to develop, just be more and more clinical. Um, yeah. What about forwards for you?
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly regarding Foden, sorry, that I think the link-up play between him and Haaland is what's
Mate,
doing
it
it.
is so good.
You know,
Yeah,
it just works so well. And then you've got De Bruyne behind them. You know, it's just the trio of them is ridiculous. Um, so two strikers, very obvious. I think we've mentioned his name every week. Haaland has to be up there. I know he only scored a goal, wasn't great. He probably could have had a hat trick, but still another goal, isn't he? He's only blanked once this season still. Um, and in that game, he got an assist, isn't he, against Bournemouth?
yeah,
And then the other one was Harry Kane. Again, look over the last 5, 6 weeks, he's returning every week now. So,
yeah,
you know, if you don't have Haaland, you've got to have Kane. If don't have Kane, you've got to have Haaland. If you can fit both in, that'd be
yeah. I mean,
ridiculous.
I would say if you don't have Haaland, like, oh mate,
You're stupid. You're
yeah,
stupid. At the moment,
it's
you're just
getting
stupid.
mental now. I mean,
It's
the game
ridiculous.
has got. I think he's up to like almost 85% now. So
Yeah.
yeah, the game has got him. But yeah, it is an interesting one with Kane. I actually went with Firmino and Skamaka. Um, Firmino, like,
Firmino's great. So, yeah.
mate, Firmino points 22.
Oh, John, you've gone quiet. Sorry.
Oh, is that
There
better?
you go. That's better, yeah.
Yeah, Firmino's points 22, 9, then 1, then back up to 12, and then a 6 off the bench against Arsenal. And his finish against Arsenal was amazing. So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, Firmino is definitely becoming someone that you need to watch out for. And then Skamaka, yeah, like he's getting more minutes and he's getting goals. I'm certainly not rushing to him, but he's only 6.7 million. So he's certainly someone to keep an eye on right now. And I haven't even seen their games, but by all accounts, like what I'm hearing on podcasts, is he's playing really well, and fitting in their team well. So, yeah, I think he's someone to keep an eye on. Then we'll whiz through quickly our avoids list because mine I just feel like mine are quite harsh. I'm just trying to get some names for it more than anything. Who have you
Uh,
gone for? Like with who?
uh,
Like so, just players to avoid.
but it's a bit of a tough one. I've just said avoid Liverpool right now. And maybe unless it's Firmino at the moment. Diaz is out. I think Trent and Matip's out. They're injured as well.
Yeah,
But Liverpool just conceded every week. So there's no point having one of their defenders at the moment. Darwin, I suppose Jota's going to come back. I'm not sure if he was coming back to fitness, weren't he? But I've just said at the moment, just avoid the Liverpool players until they start gaining momentum and form. Um, I've said avoid Leicester defenders and Vardy as well, especially for his price. Maddison, though, easily been their best player this season. Keep him if you got him. I've also said, sorry, I've just said loads of teams, really.
that's all right.
Forest players. I've said Forest players. They're conceding every week again, not doing much going forward. I like a lot of their players, but I think bringing in 20 plus players in the Prem first season, I think the whole gelling thing is just, it's a bit much. It's such a big ask for so many people. And I've said, if you have any Chelsea players, just have the fullbacks, the Cucurella, uh, um, Chilwell, or James. The others at the moment for me are just avoid. Sorry. it just again until they gain form and momentum, they're conceding every week as well. Thing about their fullback is they can obviously get assists and
Get
goals.
goals, yeah.
Cucurella done on the weekends, yeah. So
Yeah, I
it's
feel really
quite a
confused.
lot to avoid.
I feel really confused about Sterling because,
Mm.
like, I've got to give him one more week because, well, and I wouldn't mind giving him game week 12 as well. But yeah, it's just really unsettling, like seeing him on the bench and like, sure, I mean, he's not going to do that every week, but just really frustrating because he's so much money to have. But
Yeah, that's the thing.
yeah, uh, yeah, like so I mean, there's not there's not anything I disagree with you really. Um, I do think Jota's still, yeah, like when you were saying about Jota could still be, I definitely think Jota's got a lot he could offer. I
Mm.
think Liverpool attack, I doesn't feel like I I generally think they only played well against Arsenal because Arsenal stopped playing in the first half. But their attack could have posed a lot more damage if it clicked a bit. And I do
Mm.
think they're only a couple of weeks away from clicking the attack. They're still going to have major issues across the park in midfield defence. But like I do think it's not going to be long before the goals start coming for them, and something clicks for them. And I don't know what that looks like, but yeah, I certainly when their fixture turn comes, I think it will be interesting. I think we're gonna want a Liverpool attacker. We just might not know what one to get until it's all out, till they get tougher fixtures again. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, my avoid definitely Danny Ward. Like it is Danny
Oh
Ward, isn't
my
it?
life.
Mate,
It,
that
I,
guy, like,
I feel so sorry for him, but personally, I think he's the worst keeper I've seen in the Prem. I can't remember one as bad. And we
yeah,
had Wayne Hennessy for years.
yeah.
So I generally why people even put him in the first place
Well,
was
it makes
baffling
sense.
to
So
me.
I've got him for 4 million.
Just
So
'cause he was cheap. Yeah.
yeah, if you're gonna have a 4 million player on your team, you might as well have one that starts. And I got his clean sheet last week, so I was
Oh yeah, you're
absolutely
right.
buzzing that I got his clean sheet because I hadn't played him since like game week 2 or something. Bought him in for
Okay.
that one, and then yeah, yeah, like so my main point is that you cannot have Danny Ward because he will not get you save points and he concedes goals against teams that shouldn't score. So
Yeah.
yeah, like he's an absolute myth. Forest again, they are the only team, like they're a team that will concede a goal against Aston Villa who can't score. Like you
Mm.
cannot, yeah, you just can't own. Like we talked about Nico Williams last week. Like this time he was on the bench, but he's just not even 4 million. He's not worth a starting place in your team anymore. Like we
Oh,
thought at the start of the season he would be with his attacking threat, but he's just not.
can I just say one thing regarding that? I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
agree. He's a class player. They showed his stats when he come on. Yesterday was it yesterday they played, and he's Nico Williams has won the most tackles. This is for Forest. Won the most tackles, most interceptions, most shots, and most chances created. I think he obviously isn't
Bloody
getting the
hell,
returns
really?
because they're not keeping clean sheets, but he's not getting the assists and stuff because they're just not scoring. But
Yeah.
in Forest's team, he's their best player. Like if you're looking at statistics, on both sides, defensively and attacking wise, if he was
Again,
at
so
a better
maybe if
club,
something click
he'd be
when
class.
something
Yeah,
clicks, like he actually
yeah.
could be a great asset. So
He's very
yeah,
good on the ball and stuff. So maybe not now, but long term, if they do get form and, as you say, click, it'd be worth a shout because he's a very good player. But yeah, avoid him.
yeah. Well, I'll rush through this quickly because I've got some questions for you about Palace that I know
Okay.
you have some good answers to. So yeah, my other midfielders to avoid was Odegaard just because there's better assets at Arsenal, cheaper with Shaka or more expensive. Um, and then I was gonna say Ward-Prowse, but he's actually got some better fixtures coming, um, even though he just hasn't done anything recently. But yeah, realistically, like you're just going to want to avoid any Wolves midfielder for sure. Like they're not getting goals right now. And then forwards, Watkins and Welbeck, um, like when that 3-3 game, there was a lot of hype about Brighton, and maybe they are going to be amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing them this weekend. But Danny Welbeck had a good two, three, maybe even four chances, and he hit them all wide. And the same with Watkins. I didn't see the Villa game, but like Watkins, he's just not doing it. Like the reality is the goals just aren't coming, and he's getting chances. So yeah, they're my avoids. I just want to move on quickly to fixtures. Uh, so the three teams that are standing out to me with fixtures, obviously Palace are massive. Um, Arsenal have got amazing fixtures with the blank, unfortunately on 12, and then Fulham's. But I really wanted to talk to you about. So we got 6 minutes. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on Palace, really. So specifically, will will anyone? I know they can, but will anyone actually outscore Wilfred Zaha for you points wise? And secondly, is there obviously we've got Eze and Olise, but
Mhm.
are your centre mids actually inviting? Are any of your fullbacks inviting? What's your defence? Is your defence worth getting on? Just
Right.
clear up those
Right.
really.
So we saw at the weekend assist by Wilf, goal from Eze, and assist from Elise. I don't know if you saw this, but Eze had like a 40-yard free kick. He almost lobbed Meslier with, like right at the touchline. The thing, Eze just needs a box-to-box player alongside him and Decore who's holding, so he can do his thing. Leeds were battered us in the first half, but we had Eze and Elise in the middle with Decore. Second half, put Ayew in the middle, Elise out wide. The whole game changes. We absolutely battered them the second half. Elise's just class. He will get you goals and points as long as he's playing right wing. As long as Eze has a box to box in midfield with him that allows him to be free with Decore holding, Eze can do what he done at the weekend. And Wilf is going to score goals. This is probably his last season. He's on 5 now, I think. He's going to want to finish his highest ever. And with the players around him now, he's going to get more chances and stuff. He's still on penalties. He'll be on penalties all season. So I don't think anyone will outscore him with goals, but I do think if Elise's playing every week now, starting, I think with his crossing and free kicks and stuff, I think he could be the one to go to. Eze, I would definitely say as a go-to, but as long it just depends who he plays in the middle with. That is mental how it's light and day in the changing him with the player that's in the middle with him and Decore. But again, Bar Wilf, who's about 7.5 mil, Elise and Eze like 5.5 mil. They with this run of fixtures we got for the next 5, 6, 7 games, great shouts. And I'd say if you want a defender, Anderson, 4.5 million. Probably been our best player this season, along with Decore. But his passing, he's likely to get assists. He's 6'4"-ish, so corners and that. If he's in the box, he could get a goal. We're surely going to get some clean sheets soon as well. He's only like 4.5 mil. So if you want a cheap Palace defender, I'd only say Anderson at the moment. You know, he's likely to get his pass is ridiculous, so he could get an assist.
There's a lot of talk about Mark Gahey. You would choose Anderson over.
I love Gahey, but he's not going to get like an assist or anything. Gahey will be there for a clean sheet, maybe the odd goal, whereas Anderson can actually create from in our half at the back just with his passing, honestly. So I would definitely go with him if you're going to pick one. Not the fullbacks. Really leave the fullbacks.
So,
and the keeper.
Yeah, so you would pick. So in order, you would pick Zaha, then Elise, then Eze.
At the moment, but if Olise starts every game at right wing, I would go for him just because Zaha can definitely have an off day. Olise is just such a good player. And so I think throughout the season, and he's cheaper, Olise would be the better option. But we just don't know if he's starting every week at the moment. That's the only thing. He started the last 2 games.
Realistically, over your good fixtures, Zaha's going to be the one to get the most points, you think?
Probably. I will say, yeah, I'd go with that for now. Look at the next couple games. If Olise started the next couple at right wing, he's 100% coming into my team. 100%.
Interesting. And then just quickly, Schlupp and Decore, are they avoids, or would you say that they actually?
Decore's class, but he's a holding midfielder, so you're not going to get much out of him. And so he's the one that sits back, right? So you're not going to get much. He's a class player. He's been one of our best players easily. Schlupp's been benched last couple of weeks,
okay.
So he gets your goal, but if you're going for Palace players, you just got to go for Wilf, Eze, Olise, or Anderson. They're really maybe Eduard now because he's actually getting the service. 2 games in the last 2 goals. 2 goals in the last 2 games he's got because he's getting the service now. So Eduard could be a good variable going forward because he will start every week at the moment. And with the favourable fixtures, and if Olise's right wing and you've got Wilf left wing, are you in the middle with Eze? They're going to create and they're going to score. So Eduard could be a very good shout, to be fair. I'm not sure how much he's worth. Have a quick look.
Mate, we got 60 seconds.
Yeah,
just so, if you wrap it up. Yeah, thanks a lot because that's actually really good to know. But in terms of who's your golden pick? So golden pick and captain.
So if I could, I'd get Kane in. That's who I'd love. Captain, I'm just sticking with Haaland again. There's no point changing right now.
Yeah, I think for me the golden pick is Haaland because I just think Liverpool looked awful against us. Second one, I'd actually say Jesus against Leeds. I think Martinelli and Saka stole the limelight. Then this week it's going to be Jesus. So yeah, mate, thanks a lot for your time, and thanks for the Palace chat. We rushed it a bit at the end, but yeah, it was all good, and we'll catch up next week. Thanks everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good weekend all.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.